What if I told you that the single most powerful wealth-building strategy for your career has nothing to do with climbing the corporate ladder at one company? What if the real secret to maximizing your income is doing the exact opposite of what your parents told you? Welcome to Wealthwing, where we reveal the financial truths that mainstream media won't tell you. I'm your host, and today we're diving into why job hopping every 2 years isn't career suicide, it's career acceleration. In fact, it might be the smartest financial move you can make in today's economy. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why strategic job switching can increase your salary by 50% or more in just 4 years, why company loyalty is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career, and exactly how to execute this strategy without burning bridges. Let's dive in. The loyalty lie. For decades, we've been fed the same career advice. Find a good company, work hard, be loyal, and you'll be rewarded. Your parents probably told you this. Your professors definitely told you this. But here's the uncomfortable truth. In today's economy, loyalty doesn't pay. Let me hit you with some hard numbers. According to a 2022 study by ADP, employees who stay at companies for more than 2 years earn 50% less over their lifetime compared to job hoppers. Think about that. 50% less. Here's what's happening. When you stay at one company, you typically get annual raises of 2 to 3%. If you're lucky, maybe 5%. But inflation alone is eating up most of that. Meanwhile, when you switch jobs, the average salary increase is between 15 and 20%. Some people see jumps of 30%, 40%, even 50%. I recently spoke with Sarah, a marketing manager from Austin. She stayed at her first company for 5 years, going from $45,000 to $58,000. Not bad, right? That's a 29% increase over 5 years. But then she switched jobs. Her new salary, $75,000. That's a 29% jump in one move. 2 years later, she switched again to $95,000. In 7 years total, she more than doubled her salary. Her former colleagues who stayed, they're making maybe $65,000. The math is undeniable. But why does this happen? The economics of job switching. To understand why job switching is so lucrative, you need to understand how companies think about compensation. When you're an internal employee, you're a known quantity. The company knows you'll probably accept a 3% raise because leaving seems risky. You've got relationships, you know the systems, you're comfortable. Companies bank on this inertia, but when companies hire externally, they're competing. They have to offer market rate or above market rate to attract talent. They can't lowball because you'll just take another offer. This creates what economists call an information asymmetry that works in your favor. Here's another factor. Your current company knows your current salary. When they give you a raise, they're thinking incrementally. Let's give them 5% more than they're making now. But a new company, they're thinking, what's the market rate for this role? They don't care what you made before. They care about filling their position with quality talent. There's also the fresh blood premium. Companies value new perspectives and experiences. When you join a new company, you're bringing fresh ideas, different approaches, and new networks. You're worth more because you're different. After 2 years, that freshness is worn off. You're part of the furniture. I interviewed a tech recruiter last month who told me something fascinating. She said, "When I'm filling a senior role, I almost never look at internal candidates first. Why? Because I know external candidates will bring new energy and ideas. And honestly, it's easier to justify a higher salary for an external hire to my CEO than giving a 20% raise to someone internal." Let that sink in. Companies would rather pay you 20% more to join them than give their loyal employee a 20% raise. The compound effect of strategic switching.
Now, let's talk about the real magic: compound growth. When you switch jobs strategically every 2 years, you're not just adding to your salary, you're multiplying it. Let me break down the math with a real example. Let's say you start at $50,000 at age 22. Traditional path, staying at one company. Year 1, $50,000. Year 3, $53,000, 3% annual raises. Year 5, $56,000. Year 7, $59,000. Year 9, $63,000. Total earned over 9 years, approximately $490,000. Job switching path, changing every 2 years with 20% increases. Years 1 to 2, $50,000. Years 3 to 4, $60,000, 20% increase. Years 5 to 6, $72,000, 20% increase. Years 7 to 8, $86,400, 20% increase. Year 9, $103,680, 20% increase. Total earned over 9 years, approximately $616,000. That's $126,000 more in just 9 years. But here's where it gets crazy. By year 9, the job switcher is making $103,680, while the loyal employee is making $63,000. That's a $40,000 per year difference. Project this out over a 40-year career, and we're talking millions of dollars in difference. And this doesn't even factor in better benefits, bonuses, stock options, or the fact that your higher salary means higher 401k matches and contributions. But wait, it gets better. When you negotiate your salary at a new job, you're negotiating from a position of strength. You already have a job. You can walk away. This gives you leverage that internal employees simply don't have. I coached a software developer named Marcus last year. He was making $85,000 and got an offer for $95,000. I told him to counter at $110,000. He thought I was crazy, but guess what? They came back at $105,000 plus a $10,000 signing bonus. That's a 24% increase plus a bonus. Try getting that staying put.
The hidden benefits beyond salary. Money's just part of the equation. When you switch jobs strategically, you're accelerating your entire career trajectory. Let me explain what I mean. First, skill diversification. Every company does things differently. Different tech stacks, different processes, different approaches to problems. When you work at 5 companies in 10 years instead of 1, you're getting 5 times the exposure to different ways of doing things. You become a Swiss Army knife instead of a butter knife. Second, network expansion. This is huge and often overlooked. Every job switch doubles or triples your professional network. These aren't just LinkedIn connections. These are people who've worked with you, who know your capabilities, who can vouch for you. Your next opportunity often comes from your network, not job boards. Third, title acceleration. This is a secret weapon. It's often easier to get a title bump by switching companies than getting promoted internally. You might be a senior analyst at your current company, waiting 2 more years to become a manager. But another company might hire you as a manager right now. That title bump means more money at your next job switch. Fourth, confidence building. Every time you successfully switch jobs, you're proving to yourself that you're valuable in the market. You're not dependent on one company. This confidence shows up in your work, in negotiations, and in your willingness to take calculated risks. I want to share a story about Jennifer, a financial analyst I worked with. She spent 4 years at her first company, frustrated by the slow promotion cycle. She finally switched jobs, not just for money, but for a better title. She went from financial analyst 2
to senior financial analyst and got a 25% raise. But here's the kicker. 18 months later, she was recruited for a finance manager position at another company. Why? Because she had senior in her title. That move came with another 30% increase. In less than 2 years, she went from analyst 2 to manager and increased her salary by 62%. Her former colleagues? Still waiting for that promotion.
The right way to job switch. Now, before you run off and quit your job tomorrow, let's talk about strategy. There's a right way and a wrong way to switch. Do it wrong and you'll damage your career. Do it right and you'll accelerate it. First rule, never leave for just money. I know this sounds contradictory, but hear me out. You should leave for a combination of money, growth, and opportunity. If you're just chasing dollars, you might end up in a toxic environment or a dead-end role. The money won't matter if you're miserable or not learning. Second rule, time it right. 2 years is the sweet spot. Less than that and you look flaky. More than that and you're leaving money on the table. 2 years shows you can commit and contribute, but you're also ambitious and growth-oriented. Third rule, leave on good terms. Always, no matter how frustrated you are, no matter how underpaid you feel. Give proper notice, train your replacement, document your work. Why? Because industries are smaller than you think. That boss you hate today might be your client tomorrow. That colleague might be hiring for your dream job in 5 years. Fourth rule, have a story. When interviewers ask why you're leaving, you need a narrative that makes sense. Not, I want more money, but I've accomplished X, Y, and Z at my current role, and I'm looking for new challenges in areas A, B, and C that your role offers. Show progression, not just movement. Fifth rule, level up each time. Don't make lateral moves. Each switch should bring either significantly more money, at least 15%, a better title, or access to new skills and experiences. Ideally, all three. Here's a practical example. Tom was a project manager making $70,000. Instead of just looking for another project manager role, he targeted positions that included senior in the title, or had additional responsibilities like project manager, digital transformation. He ended up with a senior project manager role focused on AI implementation. New title, new skills, and $85,000 salary. That's how you do it.
Overcoming the mental barriers. I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds risky. What if I'm seen as a job hopper? What about stability? Let's address these concerns head-on. First, the job hopper stigma is dying. Recruiters and hiring managers under 45 understand that the employment landscape has changed. They don't expect or even want someone who's been at one company for 10 years. They want someone with diverse experiences and fresh perspectives. I recently surveyed 50 hiring managers in tech, finance, and marketing. 76% said they viewed 2 to 3 year stints as normal and even preferable. Only 8% said they'd be concerned about someone switching every 2 years. The stigma is mostly in your head. Second, let's talk about stability. What's more stable? Depending on one company that could lay you off tomorrow, or having skills and experiences that make you valuable to hundreds of companies? Real stability comes from marketability, not from tenure. Third, the fear of the unknown. Yes, starting a new job is uncomfortable. New people, new processes, new challenges. But that discomfort is growth. And that growth is what makes you more valuable. Comfort is expensive. It costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career. Here's what I tell my clients. The risk of staying is greater than the risk of leaving. When you stay too long, your skills get stale, your network shrinks, and your market value decreases. You become dependent on one company. That's the real risk. I want to share something personal. 5 years ago, I was terrified to leave my corporate job. I'd been there 6 years. It was comfortable, but I was underpaid and underutilized. Finally, I took the leap. My salary jumped 35%, but more importantly, my whole career trajectory changed. That move led to another move, which led to starting Wealthwing. My only regret? Not leaving sooner.
Advanced strategies for maximum gains. Now let's talk about advanced strategies for those ready to really maximize this approach. Strategy 1, industry hopping. Don't just switch companies, switch industries strategically. Skills often transfer at a premium. A marketing manager in retail might get a 30% bump moving to tech. A financial analyst in manufacturing might see 40% moving to consulting. Industries pay differently for the same skills. Strategy 2, geographic arbitrage. With remote work, you can switch without moving. Target companies in high-cost areas while living in low-cost areas. I know someone who tripled their salary by taking remote San Francisco jobs while living in Ohio. Strategy 3, skill stacking. Use each job switch to add a high-value skill. Maybe your first role is in sales. Your second adds data analysis. Your third adds team management. By your fourth job, you're a unicorn, a sales leader who can analyze data and manage teams. Unicorns command premium salaries. Strategy 4, timing the market. Certain times are better for switching. January and September see the most hiring. Year-end is tough. Also, switch during industry upswings. If your industry is booming, that's when salaries inflate fastest. Strategy 5, the boomerang. This is advanced. Leave your company on great terms, gain new skills elsewhere, then return at a much higher level. I've seen people leave as analysts and return as directors 4 years later. The same company that wouldn't promote you will hire you back at double the salary. Here's a masterclass example. Lisa was a data analyst in insurance making $65,000. She moved to a fintech startup, new industry, 20% raise. Then to a major bank, established player, another 25% raise. Then to a consulting firm, new skill set, 30% raise. Finally, back to insurance, but as a vice president of analytics. Total time, 6 years. Salary progression, $65,000 to $180,000. That's 177% growth.
Action steps and conclusion. All right, let's get practical. Here's your action plan. Step 1, update your LinkedIn today, not tomorrow, today. Make it shine. Add your accomplishments. Update your skills. Turn on Open to Work privately. Step 2, calculate your market value. Use Glassdoor, Salary.com, and PayScale. Know what you're worth. You might be shocked. Step 3, start networking now. You don't network when you need a job. You network before you need one. Reach out to one new person in your field every week. Step 4, skill up strategically. Identify the skills that command premiums in your field and start learning. Online courses, certifications, side projects. Invest in yourself. Step 5, track your wins. Document your achievements at your current job. You'll need these for interviews and negotiations. Step 6, set a timeline. If you've been at your job for more than 2 years, start looking. Not desperately, but strategically. Give yourself 6 months to find the right opportunity. Remember, this isn't about being disloyal or mercenary. This is about taking control of your financial future. Companies are loyal to their bottom line. You should be loyal to yours. The biggest wealth transfers in history happen during change. And in your career, change means changing jobs. Every switch is an opportunity to reset your compensation to market rate, to learn new skills, to expand your network, and to accelerate your trajectory.
Your parents' generation could afford to be loyal because companies were loyal back. Pensions existed. Job security was real. That world is gone. In today's economy, your security comes from your skills, your network, and your willingness to bet on yourself. So here's my challenge to you. Stop leaving money on the table. Stop waiting for your company to recognize your value. The market already recognizes it. You just have to claim it. Thank you for joining me on Wealthwing. If this episode opened your eyes, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been at their job too long. Someone who's undervalued. Someone who's ready to take control of their financial future. Remember, wealth isn't built by accepting what you're given. It's built by knowing your worth and having the courage to claim it. Until next time, keep building, keep growing, and keep switching.